What did you think about it? How did it feel? How great was it? How important is it that Kansas City? Now, I think the dynasty's dead. For those who are saying, "Oh my God, he's bloviating," no, I've been doing this a while. Respect the spot here. I think they're done. I hope they're done, but I think I can tell you why I believe they're going to be done. But the Raiders got to participate in some of this. So the live stream is up. Hopefully it sounds good. If everybody wants to jump in, how about my son's the first one to jump in with a thumbs up? Because he knows I deal with technical crap all the time. I'm always dealing with some tech support thing. We got the stream up. I got the lighting. I got a lot of stories to tell about New Orleans, man. I got a lot of stories to tell you about New Orleans, and most importantly, Eric Allen. I'm wearing the Hall of Fame hat, the hat that I got from Tom Flores personally in my gift bag when I emceed his Hall of Fame ceremony. Eric Allen getting into the Pro Football Hall of Fame while we were at the Super Bowl was one of the greatest things I've ever seen. Ever seen. I got pretty emotional in the interview. We talked about that. We'll move on. But for everybody else, today is a Raiders celebration. The Chiefs are done for now. And through the offseason, we'll see what they do next year. So if you want to get on here and see the passion, JT the Brick YT on YouTube, we're up and running. This is not the death of the kingdom. Not at all. It's the death of the dynasty. And as I tweeted out, and I'll say it again, it'll take me a second to remind everybody when it comes to dynasties. Dynasties are hard. Dynasties are really hard, and we've seen a lot of them recently. The San Antonio Spurs, the Golden State Warriors, the New York Yankees in the late 90s, and the Kansas City Chiefs. That's hard to do. But when you come to the death of the dynasty, we should all be on the same page when it gets to that. And I really believe that. I don't root for Philly. But what happened here was that we saw a team that we directly compete against. If they would have won 3 in a row, I could promise you that'd be something that the Raiders most likely would never do. Raiders won 3 Super Bowls in a short period of time, 11, 15, and 18. The next one is 60, Super Bowl 60. The Raiders aren't going to win Super Bowl 61, 62, and 63. The Chiefs were on the doorstep of doing it. And we don't have to worry about that now, which is important. So this is a wide open Super Bowl recap show. I'm expecting you to step up today. I'm not hurting. I feel great, but you know what I did to get back here. It was not easy. I was on the plane with Q, James Lofton, Rod Woodson, a lot of people. We flew out of there at 7:20 in the morning on Sunday. And we're like, whoo, that plane took off from New Orleans. I was like, thank you, God. Get me to Vegas, please. Get me out of this place. I'll talk about Kendrick Lamar and what he did at halftime, which I wasn't troubled by because that's what I expected. But a lot of people were triggered on that. How was the broadcast? What do you think of the commercials? All of, Tom Brady there. Be careful. He's one of our owners now. Be careful. And then we'll dive into the game at 702-365-9200. Thanks to all of our proud partners, including the DeCastaverde Law Group, Alex in Orlando DeCastaverde. Man, you want to talk about the brothers winning. They had another massive case that went down. Massive case that went down for the DeCastaverde Law Group because the brothers have your back and the brothers win. If you get into an accident, 702-222-9999. JT back in Vegas on the flagship of the Silver and Black. Yeah, I don't know what was going on there if I didn't have the right microphone selection, but we're up and running. Hope everyone's good. Yep, thank you. Chiefs lose. Yes, welcome back. Welcome back to everybody again. Kind of pissed off, D, that we couldn't stream, but New Orleans was a crap show in regards to internet. There were just too many people there with live streams that couldn't get up and live. So anyway, we're back up running again. So how was everybody's Super Bowl? Everybody have a good time? No one got injured like those Eagle fans? No insanity, no stupidity.
Hi, buddy. How you been? How was your weekend?
The survey asks new moms about their experience before, during, and after pregnancy. Responses are confidential and used to help
All
improve the
right.
health of mothers and babies.
Ooh.
If you receive a PRAMS survey, please share your story. Learn more at nvprams.com.
Yeah, travel was pretty easy, man. New Orleans is tough to get into and out of. It's not that hard. Not a hard place to travel to.
s.dpbh.nv.gov. This message sponsored by
You get up the YouTube link.
Behavioral Health, aired in cooperation with the Nevada Broadcasters Association and this station.
Yeah, what's your name, man?
Looking for your next adventure on the road?
What's your
Finley
name,
Toyota
man?
has you covered. With an unbeatable selection of brand new Toyotas, you'll find the perfect ride to fit your lifestyle and your budget. Whether it's the rugged
Let me get this tweet out here to get everybody lit. Yep, here we go. We'll share this.
No matter your credit situation, Finley Toyota, driven to excellence. At the Valley Auto Mall in Henderson or online at finleytoyota.com.
This is JT for Grimaldi's, New York style coal fired brick oven pizza that you crave. 4 locations here in the Valley, Summerlin, in Boca Park, on the Strip at the Palazzo, Southwest Las Vegas on South Rainbow Boulevard, and Green Valley on Southeastern Avenue.
This is Raider Nation Radio, 9:20 a.m.
All right, everything's up to speed. Thanks for waiting on me. Appreciate everybody.
When you are injured, knowing that someone has your back.
Yeah, the game wasn't very good because you had a dominant performance. For those who say the game wasn't great, I could push back and say it was a dominant performance. You saw one of the great games because they played that good. Hey, when you get up and running there, can you just grab me a water, please? I can't talk. Just throw it in that thing. When we get up and running, well, I won't take a call until you come back. Yeah. Yep. This is a Journey cover band, Bobby. Yeah.
Running a business gets more complicated every year, so you need a trusted advisor in your corner,
Venom?
especially when it comes to your workers' comp program. Program Management has been helping Nevada's self-insured businesses for over 20 years. Whether
Yeah.
the business is retail, trucking,
That?
building, agriculture, or auto, our team has
How you get down there?
expertise to make sure your coverage
Get down there,
meets
freaking
your needs
Uber?
and
Just take
at
us
a
there, a
price
bus
that fits your
downtown.
budget. Our award-winning team keeps track of all the important regulatory issues that impact your business. We help with safety, compliance, and inspections
playing,
because that's what you should expect from a trusted business partner.
Western one
Find out
rejoin.
how to
This
have
one's gonna be
program
the Jean
management work for
Pick
you.
Yeah, that Dijon pick sick because it was unbelievable.
GNB.com to receive
Stuff
a
I'm
free
putting, this is
cost
all
savings
Westwood one. I got
analysis
all your
now.
stuff.
Yep.
Visit GNB.com or call our Las Vegas office at 702-740-4380. Pro Group Management. Workers' comp that works for you.
Modelo is an official cerveza of the Las Vegas Raiders and the JT the Brick Show. Modelo Especial is a rich, full-flavored.
Yeah, Kelsey looked washed in that game, I'll tell you that.
Refreshing taste, brewed with fighting spirit since 1925.
Welcome back to the JT the Brick Show, brought to you by Modelo Especial, the new #1 beer in the U.S.
And a shotgun snap from their own 24, rolling out of the pocket. Mahomes flies out. Here comes shotgun for 20. And picked off by the team who comes to the near side, the 30. Got it back to the 20, breaks the tackle, the 10, the 5, to the pylon. Touchdown! Eagles have got a pick six. It's Cooper DeJean. A 37-yard pick six of Patrick Mahomes.
Turn it up. Chiefs lose. Turn it up. Chiefs lose. Yes. Yes, Raider Nation. Needed that to happen. Needed it to happen. I'm here for the nation and all football fans around the world. We need to stop the dynasty. Now, they can win. You know my rule. A dynasty is 3 in a row. They didn't get that. 3 out of 4 or 3 out of 5. They're a dynasty. They are. And they can start a new one. See, but people don't understand about the definition of a dynasty. When you lose, the dynasty's over. Unless you're the Cowboys. The Cowboys are the best example. They won 2 in a row. They got rid of Jimmy Johnson. They lost in the NFC Championship. Then they won again. That's 3 out of 4. That's a dynasty. for the Chiefs, if they win again next year, which I don't think they can, you can hold on to this dynasty that they're in. But they have to start a new one. And the Patriots did that. You think when Tom Brady didn't win a Super Bowl over 10 years, they were still a dynasty when they lost 2 to Eli? No, the dynasty was over, and Brady started another one. So the Chiefs hit a bump in the road. They're a very good team. I got a lot of respect for them, their coaches, their players, Mahomes. Man, Kelsey looked washed. Kelsey looked like Kelsey looked like an old cleanup hitter in Major League Baseball, his final year, who couldn't hit the curveball. And it was great to see that Philadelphia put their hands on Kelsey. Hopefully everybody realizes that coming up. That we get to a point now, we have the film of Kelsey. I wish we would have the film 10 years ago. But the film of Kelsey and Kelsey being stopped by a team that had a great game plan. They tried to take him out of the game. And to give credit, let's give credit to the game plan that we saw of Kansas City, Steve Spagnuolo. They took Saquon Barkley kind of out of the game, but Jalen Hurts was able to hit some big shots downfield that were the difference in the game. The difference in the game was the Eagles' defensive line. It reminded me a lot of when the Giants and Michael Strahan and Osi Umenyiora and Justin Tuck were able to beat the Patriots because they were so good up front. Brady could never get settled in that game, and they won with Jalen Carter and the edge rusher Sweat. And what Philadelphia was able to do was pretty impressive. That's a good defense. Raiders play Philly next year. Oh, boy. They're going to have a big offseason. Philly is on the schedule, so is the Commanders on the road. So the schedule to me for the Raiders is not brutal. It's just when the schedule comes out, one of those games is going to line up. I have all the sound from the Super Bowl. I'll get to that in a little bit. And this is part 1. Tomorrow, part 2 of our Super Bowl recap show, because we need to stretch out the content, man. I'll be honest, you hear my voice. We got to get 2 days out of the Super Bowl before we start getting into some other sports topics. This was a good Super Bowl because it defines a legacy. It ended a dynasty. Philadelphia built the team correctly. That's what John Spytek is going to try to do now. And he's got experience because he was part of the building of the Super Bowl of Tom Brady in Tampa Bay. Tom Brady's here. Pete Carroll and Chip Kelly. You got to like all that. 702-365-9200 as we start off with Jorge in San Jose. You're on a Super Bowl recap show.
Hey, what's up, JT? Just want to give you a huge shout out. Listened to your interview with Eric Allen this past weekend, and absolutely loved it. If anybody out there hasn't heard it, please go out there and listen to it. And congratulations to him and to your friend personally. I was out here in the Bay, JT, watching it, and there's a lot of Niner fans, Raider fans. So I was with a bunch of my friends who happen to be Niner fans, and everybody was happy and it was jolly seeing the Eagles win. But to be honest, JT, personally for me, I was a little bit in shock mode. I really first was having a hard time processing the fact that the Chiefs were getting annihilated. And don't get me wrong, I'm not complaining about that, but I think it was just really it just speaks a lot of what the Chiefs have done throughout this whole time. But to just get boat race like that, I think I shouted it out at the very beginning. I was like, I think this is Kansas City, Tampa Bay version number 2. And I kind of said it very jokingly, but it ended up being that way. The defense came in, and it is surprising to see that Mahomes is the way that he's gotten beat is through defense. But the Raiders did it also on Christmas Day. And so, when you see a team like that get beat, one thing that's important to know is that, the Eagles had 2 elite runners in Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley. And I think when one of them wasn't able to get going, the other one has, and that complementary running game, when you have a quarterback, is super important. So, I'm going to bookmark that for Raider Nation. But just happy that the dynasty's over. This AFC West chapter is pretty has been pretty rough for Raider Nation. But, I'm honestly just really optimistic about what Pete Carroll's going to bring. I think it's going to be a good opportunity for him to just start seeing a competitive team in his division lose and trying to review the tape, like you said. But, looking forward to hearing more Super Bowl stories, and, looking forward to the offseason out here. Thanks for taking my call.
Yeah, appreciate the call. Thanks for checking in. And when I got a couple I'm just going to do some generic stories throughout. I saw a lot of cool stuff in the Super Bowl, but back to the game and tying it into Pete Carroll and what Pete Carroll's going to do. Pete Carroll lost the Super Bowl on an interception from Malcolm Butler, who was at one of the bars we were at, sitting at the bar. Malcolm Butler doesn't have to pay for a drink the rest of his life from an interception. I can tell it. I saw that. I saw people buying him drinks at the Sheridan where my son was staying. It was kind of funny. And Pete Carroll won a Super Bowl where they annihilated Denver and Peyton Manning. They didn't beat them. They embarrassed them. They did what Philadelphia did to Kansas City. So we all know the Raiders are in good hands with Pete Carroll. They're in very good hands with Chip Kelly, Pete Carroll, and Patrick Graham. Now they got to go get players. And the players that come in next are going to be very important, that they're priced correctly. The Raiders have all this cap space. They got a lot of draft equity. But they're going to have to thread the needle, a term I use a lot in politics. If you want to win an election in politics, you got to thread the needle. You got to raise the money. You got to go out on the ground and get the vote. You got to get people to show up on election day. You got to run the right ads. You got to do everything right. It's called threading the needle. And the Raiders need to do that. And this is not a slow building block for the Raiders. Raiders got to turn this around quick. So the Commanders go from 4 wins to winning 2 playoff games. Do I think the Raiders can do that? That's a bit much, but it's possible. It's possible if everything comes around nicely. And all the other teams can say the same thing. You want to win, you better be great in the offseason. That's a promo in 3, 2, and 1. If the Raiders want to win, they have to be great in the offseason. They have to spend their money wisely and correctly. They got to retain their best players. They got to convince other players that might not want to be here to come here. They got to do everything right. If they do everything right, the Raiders can have a bounce-back season. We all know that, but they got to do a lot right. We know they have the right people set up to do that. New Orleans, wow, I got a lot to say on New Orleans. All of it isn't good. I saw so much greatness in New Orleans. First off, bad news for Vegas. New Orleans got better weather. Wow. Super Bowl weather is important because New Orleans could have a lot more rain. They could have a lot more rain than Vegas. We don't get any rain in Vegas. We never get rain in Vegas. It's very rare. New Orleans gets a lot of rain. They didn't have any. It was warm. The humidity was just a slight that you could feel it, but the sun was out. You want to be walking around the Super Bowl at 70, 75 degrees, not 38 degrees to 43 degrees. New Orleans was unbelievable. As I told you all week long, I have never seen that much military in my life in one pocket. I couldn't believe it. I mean, you could not have any more military, machine guns, and then cops in one place at one time. And it wasn't uncomfortable. It was just really bizarre to see that many cops, Swamp Pro Cop, and that much National Guard and military all in the same location. I don't know how they protected the rest of Louisiana from crime because they were all there. There was also a lot of shady characters down in New Orleans, man. I didn't bring my wife on this, and I'm happy I didn't. I would not have been comfortable with my wife rolling around there with me for 5 or 6 days. It was shady in some of the spots there, no doubt. It was like, whoa. But then you go to, I'm a veteran of New Orleans, so you go 2 blocks off Bourbon Street, and you're in a side alley, and you're at one of the best restaurants you've ever been to. I mean, incredible. Radio Row was good, but they had no internet, which kind of was a screw up from them. Radio Row had less guests than they've ever had. Really, it was not like 10 years ago. Bobby, we're lucky we were doing this 10, 20 years ago because Radio Row has jumped the shark. It's still important. Yeah. You got to be there, but it's not like it used to be. No. And then another takeaway I have is that the NFL needs a younger generation of stars because it's still Emmitt Smith, Joe Montana, Michael Irvin. It's the same guys for the last 20 years who are still there, and there's not a wave underneath them. I'll give you a good name, Max Crosby. He's a wave underneath. Max goes to Radio Row. Max is there, but there's not a lot of, you didn't see T.J. Watt, J.J. Watt, or at least I didn't see him. There wasn't this, this influx of legends everywhere. But it's New Orleans. I think a lot of people are intimidated to go to New Orleans because of the terrorist attack. And then the prices. And then before we come back, one more thing on the pricing. I noticed when I was gone, as I was looking on social media, everyone was criticizing Vegas because Vegas room rates crashed. It crashed all over Vegas. You can get rooms for $120. And they did all that. So there was some serious Vegas fatigue. And we got great partners on this show who are casino owners. So my message to Vegas in general is slow your roll, Vegas. You're greedy as hell. I've been here since 1996. And it's got people who've been here since the 60s and 70s. But I got here for almost full time in 96. And finally, Vegas got a pushback because people are sick and tired of paying $10 for a bottle of water. $30 a day resort fees. Stop. You're going to ruin Vegas. People are going to get to the point and say no. In New Orleans, the room that I was in, so I checked in Tuesday, I checked out Sunday morning. So I checked into my room Tuesday night, and the room rate that I stayed in was $180 a night. On Friday night, my room was $1,200. Same maid that was working the room, who I tipped, same lady at the front desk, same restaurant in the lobby. The room went from $168 to $1,200. Same sheets on the bed. They've changed the sheets, but you know what I'm saying? Same towels. They didn't go from Bobby $168 room rate, and then when they moved it to $1,200, I got a velour robe and slippers, and I got free this. We are living in a time of greed. Stop ripping off people that want to travel. And then the only other interesting thing was the tickets to the Super Bowl collapsed almost. My buddy Johnny Macca was down there as a ticket broker. Oh my God, I had dinner with him one night. He had 2 phones working trying to do ticket deals. And people were calling him going, I got 2 in the second deck. I'd like $6,000 each. And he was laughing. He goes, I'll give you 32 right now and you better take it because you're not going to get any more. So the tickets were kind of crashing too, because I think people are going through a time now where we're just sick of greed. You don't need to have $30 resort fees every day. You don't need to call for water or a carafe of coffee and for to be $60. And you wonder why people didn't come to Vegas for the Super Bowl. It's getting crazy. Slow the roll. There's plenty of money to be made. You don't have to be greedy. Let's get out to Anders in Oakland. Thanks for waiting. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's a quick one here, JT. I think one of the things that comes from this game is that aura of invincibility has been pumped. I think that you've sat there for so many years, like, oh, here we go again. I think the opponents thought that. I thought the Chiefs thought that. Like, there's Mahomes, he's going to bail them out. They got their asses handed to them. And I think that all around the league, people are going, wait a minute, maybe we can beat these guys. You know, maybe they're not invincible. And I think that's, to me, is maybe the biggest takeaway here. Like, they never blitzed, rushed forward, and they beat them so bad that I think that's really good for the league and really good for us. That's it. Oh, by the way, your Allen interview was amazing.
Thank you.
So many people. I love it. That's it.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Where are all the Raider fans today? And I thought I'd have like 30 Raider fans waiting outside for me today. And everybody woken up. The Chiefs lost, man. Meet my energy, will you? 702-365-9200. We got closet Chief fans now. I mean, doesn't all Raider Nation want to celebrate today the Chiefs losing? You know, it was an epic loss. It's one of my favorite Super Bowl losses. The Chiefs decided to do it on the cheap. They didn't go get Derrick Henry. Why didn't Derrick Henry go to the Chiefs? Well, the Chiefs got some salary cap issues, but he chose Baltimore. I would roughly say Baltimore and Kansas City were on the same page. So when you got Pacheco and you're going back to Kareem Hunt, that's not as good as Josh Jacobs. That's not as good as Derrick Henry. It's not Saquon Barkley. Xavier Worthy's a good player, right? He caught a touchdown. He's a good player. But Devontae Smith's better, and A.J. Brown are better. It's pretty obvious to see that Philadelphia have better players. And they had a really good, solid defensive pass rush. How did Mahomes get sacked 6 times without one blitz? Wow. Holy cow. What does that tell you about Kansas City's offensive line? And Kansas City's in the Super Bowl. The Raiders are not. So when you look at the Raiders' offensive line, Bobby, and you go, oh, I kind of like Dylan Parham. Oh, I kind of like Colt Miller. So do I. So do I, but they're not in the Super Bowl. And Kansas City's offensive line's a lot better than the Raiders, and they got mauled. They got mauled. So that's going to be something that Pete Carroll and Chip Kelly and Patrick Graham are going to look at their players and who they're lining up in the future and go, man, let's just judge them against Howie Roseman in Philadelphia. Let's all get together with the scouts and have a big team meeting over in Henderson and go, let's go every player and compare them to the Eagles. How would you compare Malcolm Kuntz to Sweat? How would you compare Adam Butler and put him up against Jalen Carter? Start going down the list and compare the future Raider players to the Eagles. Because a lot of the Eagle players were available for the Raiders. It wasn't like the Raiders couldn't have drafted everybody Philly drafted. The same guys were available. Howie Roseman took the better players. We didn't. Now we got new people in town here to make the draft better. And I'm a big Tom Telesco guy in the first round. Tom's a good draft evaluator. I thought Dave Ziegler had a couple of really good draft picks. But Howie Roseman got everyone almost right. Jeez. How do you get almost everyone right? We are brought to you by Modelo, the number one beer in America. Numero uno. Modelo's were all over Bourbon Street. Compared to that other beer that I don't know what people drink at other times. But I saw Modelo's and a couple of Raider Nation toasting the Modelo to me at Pat O'Brien's. I appreciated that. We'll be right back. All right, now we got this thing going.
Unnecessary roughness.
Joined now at the table alongside Ryan Hogue and Hugh Myers is Lindsay Rhodes from Supersports.com. Everybody's gone.
Yeah.
29 free agents.
So I was looking at that and I was thinking so many of them are on the defensive side of the ball that actually might be an interesting opportunity with Pete Carroll coming on board. This just gives him an opportunity to redo the defense in his image. And I kind of think that might have been one of the more attractive points for him. Don't miss Unnecessary Roughness weekdays at 2 on Raider Nation Radio, 920 AM.
Boyd Gaming is the official and exclusive local casino partner of the Las
Everybody
Vegas
feeling
Raiders
good?
at
A lot of
Allegiant
people.
Stadium.
There he
Bring your
is. Rick
friends.
Layers.
Cups
Yes,
of
a lot of
fun,
people
always
were
bet on
sick when
black.
I came back to
Visit their
Vegas.
10 casinos
My
across
wife,
the
my
valley.
neighbor, I was
Don't let
walking the
game get
dog.
out of
Everyone's
hand.
got
Please
this
bet
like
responsibly.
flu,
The place for
COVID
Raiders
again, man.
coverage is right here
I've been
on
in the
Raider Nation
swamp for
Radio,
the last 3 weeks,
920
man.
AM.
Swamp of
This is
like
JT
large
for the Black
crowds.
Hole, home of
I hope I'm all
football's
right. I
most
feel good, but
notorious
man, other
fans.
than the
If you're a
voice. Woo!
diehard Raider fan, this is your home. Become a member today and receive 20% off online purchases, hotel discounts for home and away games, access to members-only merchandise, and much more. All memberships are now lifetime memberships.
We got my
Once a
headset
member,
today. I had to borrow
always a member.
Vinny's.
If you bleed silver and black, visit theblackhole.com today. That's theblackhole.com.
Did New Orleans announce Kellen Moore today?
Ron.
I didn't
Another
see
day
that.
in admin,
No.
Bill. Am I right?
What are you working on? Oh,
You okay?
your tabs. You have so many open.
Yeah, gotta order lunch for the big client meeting. With great responsibility comes tabs.
I can help. Close
You're
all
not playing
those
the
tabs
Doors
and
again,
open
are
just
you?
one. EasyCater.com.
Yeah, you never play
Online
you never
ordering for
play
local
the same
restaurants,
band
plus
twice.
tools to save time, stay on budget, track expenses.
Jalen
One
Hurts is
tab
at
to rule
Disney
them all.
World.
EasyCater, the smarter way to order food for work. Order now at EasyCater.com.
Ken
The average
Dorsey
new auto loan payment is over
is going to be in
$700 a
Dallas.
month, and the average American home has more
on
than
Brian
one car.
Schottenheimer's
By moving
team.
your auto loans to One Nevada Credit Union, you could take a break from those payments for a few months. Call it a financial detox.
Philly
That detox
Philly
could be close
fans
to
outnumbered
$4,000 in your pocket. With
Philly
One
fans
Nevada
now
Credit Union,
outnumbered
you can
Kansas
buy
City
or move over your
fans, I'd say
existing auto
20 to
loan
1,
and
not
save
10
big.
to 1.
Start 2025 right with a 90-day
And New
no-pay
Orleans
auto
took a
loan
bite
from
out of
One
me, not
Nevada.
much.
Visit onenevada.org.
My
Federally
biggest
insured NCUA.
expense was Ubers because I had to take an Uber 4 times a day, and those Ubers range between 40 and $80 every time, depending on when I was traveling. Man, it was expensive, man.
Donate today at Cars for Kids.
Sorry, thanks for reminding me of the ads. Thank you.
Car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
Yep.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
When you need cash, how quickly can LendingStore.com connect you to a lender faster than this commercial? Whether you need cash for a medical bill, groceries, or rent, LendingStore.com's network of lenders makes it quick and easy. In less time than this ad, you can fill out a few fields at LendingStore.com and find out if a lender can get you $500 to $5,000 as early as tomorrow. So visit LendingStore.com.
Kellen Moore expected to be Saints' new head coach.
LendingStore is not a lender and does not make credit decisions. Must be 18 years old. Not available in all states. Modelo is an official cerveza of the Las Vegas Raiders and the JT the Brick Show.
Bobby, easy, dude.
Pilsner style lager, delivering a crisp, refreshing taste, brewed with fighting spirit since 1925.
Plumbers, HVAC techs, contractors, and DIYers. McFadden Dillon Industrial Hardware has the tools, parts, and supplies to power your next
My favorite
project.
part of being there was being with my son. My son was there for the first time ever in New Orleans, and that was cool.
Industrial Hardware, fast, easy, and built for the pros.
Cristo Rey St. Viator College Preparatory High School, located in North Las Vegas, is accepting applications for the 2025-2026 school year. The opportunity for an affordable private college preparatory education, coupled with a real-world corporate work study experience, is waiting for you. With a 100% graduation rate, 100% of seniors are accepted into at least one four-year university. To learn more about the school or schedule a campus tour, please call 702-844-2019 or visit CristoRaySt.Viator.org today. That's 702-844-2019.
Point Gaming is the official and exclusive local casino partner of the Las Vegas Raiders
the end of the
Allegiant
first
Stadium.
half,
Bring your
1-1.
friends, have some fun, but
Yep.
always bet on black.
Okay.
Visit their 10 casinos across the
Sorry, a couple
valley.
seconds.
Don't let the game
And
get out
find
of
some,
hand. Please bet responsibly.
find some Kendrick Lamar music too. Let me know when you have it.
Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers. One love.
And that's exactly what we've seen tonight. It has been total domination in every facet across the board. Tip your hat to the Eagles. They came in, they had the best roster, and so far in the first half, they're dominating up front and on the back end. All right, halftime is here. By the way, the last team to be shut out in the first half of a Super Bowl. It happened in Super Bowl 53 to the Rams against the Patriots, 3-0 at that halftime point.
That was Kevin Harlan and Kurt Warner on the call heading into halftime, reminding you that Kansas City was shut out. So when that happens during a game, you can look at it one of two ways. Is it a good game? No, because the team's getting shut out. It's not a great game, but it was a great performance by Philadelphia. It was a great performance. Really short segment here. We'll be back on the other side in a minute. I want to get Mike and Philly up if we can do that, because Philly won and Eagle fans should go to the front of the line. What's happening, Mike?
JT, what's going on? It's been a minute. It's flying, Mike. I used to call your show all the time when you were on the Big Fox. How's it going? I really want to give a shout. I can't believe my defensive coordinator was able to do that last night, man. I knew the game. First of all, one of the things I'll get into real quick, I have this thing since I've been blind my whole life. I like to sit by myself and listen to the game so I can hear what's going on. I can't sit in a sports bar with around a bunch of people because I won't be able to know what's going on with the game. But one of the biggest things is with the Super Bowl, coming out of the halftime show, always get this queasy feeling in my stomach because I'm always thinking, oh, God, what's going to happen in the second half? They didn't have an answer. They didn't have no answer for this defense. And I was amazed that they didn't have to blitz. They only sent 4, and so I managed to keep Kelsey on the wraps. And they managed to, they didn't. I was surprised that Kansas City didn't even try to, run the Pacheco like 2 years ago.
Well, how are they going to run the ball down for 24-0? I mean, like everyone's like Philly should have ran the ball more. When they got blown out in the first 10 minutes of the game, there wasn't a lot of time to run the football in that game.
The only good thing that Kansas City did right was manage to keep Saquon on the wraps. That was it.
Yeah.
Other than that, So I just want to, congratulations to you guys, getting Chip Kelly and Pete Carroll. I wish you guys a lot of luck out there, But it's great to talk to you again. And
thanks, Mike. Appreciate it, man. Thanks for finding us, and appreciate you coming in here. 702-365-9200. When I come back, I'll do a full monologue with the sound of the game. We'll tie it in. I love doing that. That's what we do whenever I do the pre and post for the Raiders. We'll do it here post game. Part 1 of our 2-part Super Bowl recap show for the next 2 days. We are celebrating the Kansas City Chiefs getting blown out in the Super Bowl. Why wouldn't we? We're Raider Nation. Brought to you by Tito's Handmade Vodka, the #1 handmade vodka in the world.
The stars will shine at the NBA All-Star Game from the Bay Area. Listen in Sunday starting at 4 on ESPN.
Yep, I got it all here. We'll do that. We'll do one more 20-minute segment here, and we'll get some rest, and then I'll be on tonight. I don't think my voice is out, Kenny. I think my voice is pretty good considering where I was. Better than it did Friday, that's for sure. Now, Luka and Luka playing tonight.
This is JT for Grimaldi's Pizzeria, that famous New York style coal-fired brick oven pizza that you crave.
I wasn't there after the game. I was back here for the game, but it looked like Kansas City fans, if they were smart, shouldn't have been out at all last night. They should have just got the hell to the hotel. It would have been crazy for Chief fans to wear their gear and go out on Bourbon Street. That wouldn't have been smart.
The best tavern food in town. Voted best happy hour in Las Vegas. There's no better place to be than PT's Taverns. See you for 50% off drinks during happy hour 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. and 12 a.m. to 2 a.m. daily. With over 65 locations, there's always a PT's Tavern near you. Visit ptstaverns.com.
What do you think of Kendrick Lamar? As I tweeted out, what do you expect Kendrick Lamar to do? Play Snoop Dogg and Prince covers? I mean, he played his music. That's everyone in that world that he's in loves his music. Love it. Like they love Kendrick Lamar. He played his music. Was it politically? I don't know. I didn't know about Serena's Crip walk, and was it anti-American flag? Was Samuel L. Jackson talking down to America? I don't get into that crap. If you like Kendrick Lamar, he probably did a great job playing his songs. If you didn't like Kendrick Lamar, you weren't going to like it anyway.
Less than a half mile from the stadium, the Tailgater features 24 beers on tap and killer happy hour specials and gaming promotions. Plus, the kitchen is cooking up everything from shareable bar bites to breakfast, flatbread pizzas, and monster-sized burgers. This is your sports viewing headquarters.
Jalen Hurts at Disney.
Your gateway to the stadium.
Zip Zap Auto has expanded into one of the largest independent auto repair shops in the valley.
Yeah, the visual Space Beasts weren't great.
Zip Zap is your one-stop shop.
Big D had no interest in the halftime show.
Oil changes, detailing, bodywork, engine and transmission rebuilding. And Zip Zap provides free towing and diagnostics with qualifying.
Eric Allen is an Eagle. Are you kidding me? Eric Allen had his legendary career with the Eagles. He played great as a Raider. His career, but this is not like baseball where you have to wear an Eagles or Raiders cap. He's an Eagle. He's a Raider second, but he's diehard Raider Nation. It's great. I mean, Eric Allen, an Eagle or a Raider. Are you kidding me? Eric Allen put up the majority of those 54 touchdowns and pick sixes as an Eagle.
Keep your heating system running smoothly all winter long. Visit Gettle.com. GOETTL.
Man, Mahomes he just couldn't even move.
It's a mouthful. The translation for GMTVCC.com is Give Me the Bin Classic and Collector Cars. It's a
he's going to wear his Eagles gear.
But it's for classic and collector cars. Experienced pro buyers will appraise an offer on your 1970
Eric was pretty excited.
or 1988 Fox Body Mustang or your granddad's old 1985 square body Chevy truck. GMTVCC.com is where you go to get real money for classic and collector cars.
Yeah, don't forget it.
Now, that's GMTVCC.com. Brought to you by Give Me the Bin.
Modelo is an official cerveza of the Las Vegas Raiders and the JT the Brick Show. Modelo Especial is a rich, full-flavored Pilsner-style lager, delivering a crisp, refreshing taste, brewed with fighting spirit since 1925.
Wow.
Live or listen to past podcasts 24/7 at LDSportsNetwork.com. This is Raider Nation Radio 920 AM, KRLV Las Vegas.
Welcome back to the JT the Brick Show. Brought to you by Comisario Tequila, the official tequila of the JT the Brick Show.
It's the JT the Brick Show, broadcasting live from the Philly Cadillac Performance Studio.
Raiders bring a blitz. He takes him off the middle, and he's wrapped up from behind. Max Crosby.
Your silver and black home to sound off for over 25 years.
Open at the 35, racing to the 20, 10. Touchdown Raiders!
And now, here's JT the Brick.
Welcome back, everybody. JT back in Vegas on Raider Nation Radio. We are streaming live on YouTube at JT the Brick YT. You can subscribe for free, and we'd really appreciate it. It's really one click to subscribe. It doesn't cost anything, and you get all our content. You'll get the notifications when we're going live, and I would appreciate that because we're building up that platform one viewer at a time. Thank you very much for that. And back from New Orleans. I got back Sunday. Someone asked me what was my favorite part of New Orleans. By far, it was with my son. My son was down there. His client, Jaden Hicks, was the safety for Kansas City. It was interesting. Jaden played at Bishop Gorman. He's a dear, dear, dear person. And even though I don't root for Kansas City, we root for him. In his rookie year, and he played a lot of snaps, in his rookie year for Kansas City, he lost 2 games. They lost the 2 in the regular season. That Denver game at the end, they didn't play anybody. And then they lose the Super Bowl. So 3 losses overall as a rookie. And the rookies who played for Philly, DeJean were great. They have 2 rookies starting in their secondary who played great. So both of these teams have rookies that didn't lose many games. And Philadelphia was able to get it done. They were fantastic under Vic Fangio. In their last 17 games, they gave up 16.7 a game. Their point differential from the first 4 games, -6, they ended plus 29. They started off 2-2. You know who else did? The Raiders. The Raiders started off 2-2. Philadelphia ended the year 16-1. 16-1. That was one of the most dominant and best Super Bowl performances we've seen. And that happens. You saw Montana blow out teams. You saw other great quarterbacks blow out teams in the Super Bowl. We'll chalk this one up to the MVP, Jalen Hurts, as he's at Disneyland today, and he's going down that Disneyland road to success when you get a chance to do that. I didn't enjoy the game much, but I enjoyed the fact that Kansas City lost. And whenever there's a great margin of victory, you have to say, why did Kansas City get blown out? Was it coaching? Was it the players? I'm a big body language guy. I thought Kansas City's body language sucked the entire game. Once they were down 17-0, they were checked out. They were getting steamrolled. And it almost looked like they were saying, hey, let's just get through this game. Let's get back to our party. My son went to the Chiefs party last night with his boyhood friend. And you still have a party because Kansas City, how many millions of dollars Kansas City spent on the party because they would have won a 3-peat. They don't cancel the party and tell the entertainer go home if we lose. Right. They go through with it. In Philly, man, they tore up Philadelphia again. Did anybody expect nothing else? They tore it up. Philadelphia was a mess after that. And as I told someone in our chat, if you were a Kansas City Chief fan and you went out last night on Bourbon Street, you took your life in your hands. If you were a Kansas City fan and you went from that game with your Chiefs jersey on into the belly of the Philly beast, you're nuts. Absolutely crazy. For New Orleans, Bobby, part of me, because I love it so much, I said when I was leaving, I might never go back again. Seriously, when you leave New Orleans, it's kind of like what people say when they come to Vegas after 3 days. Get me out of here. But New Orleans, when you get out of there after 3 or 4 days, you don't want to go back. The people are great. The hospitality is good. It's just so overwhelming that you're dealing with so much. It's so aggressive that you either have to embrace it and being aggressive. So you have to match that level of going out, partying, doing what you're going to do, or you're going to run from it because it's just too much. I want to thank Lee Steinberg. We went to his party. It was at the New Orleans Jazz Museum. What a spot. Outside, right on the edge of the French Quarter, beautiful trees. The museum had all these collectible trumpets and trombones and Buddy Guy guitars and John Lee Hooker guitar. It was fabulous. Had a great time there. Lee Steinberg, good to see him. Ran into a lot of Raider fans throughout the trip there, bumped into a bunch of them, which was really nice. Eric Allen, I could just tell you from seeing EA and the family, they were over the moon. Eric's not a big, I'm going to go walk down the street. I want everybody to see me. But Eric was on cloud 9. He's so excited. Eric's family's so cool, and they were just happy. They were happy for everyone. And on top of that, Eric Allen, people are asking me, Eric Allen's an Eagle. We're lucky we had him on the Raiders. Yeah. He played great on the Raiders. He's a Raider. Once a Raider, always a Raider. But you saw EA get introduced at the Super Bowl with that beautiful jacket and his Eagles jersey on. He deserved that. He gave a lot to that Eagles organization. So really happy for him there. And we want to hear from Raider fans on the outcome of the game. What do you believe in Raider Nation will be the future of the Kansas City Chiefs? I think they're done. I do. They're a very good team. There's a lot of Chiefs fatigue. A lot of Chief fans out there know it. from Taylor Swift and Kelsey. See the outfit that Kelsey wore to the Super Bowl? How terrible was that? He dressed up like he was some 70s cop in Starsky and Hutch there to make it all about himself. And look, the drip and wearing something supposed to be cool, however you want to dress. But it feels like the Kelsey Swifty thing is slowing down quickly. And for Raider fans who just love X's and O's, Mahomes is now 3-2 in the Super Bowl. Jim Plunkett's got 2 Super Bowls and a Super Bowl MVP. It's not like Mahomes is running away from Jim Plunkett. And will Mahomes get back there again? Yeah, I think he will. I think eventually Kansas City will get back to a Super Bowl with Patrick Mahomes. But I think we're starting to see the chink in the armor. I think we're starting to see them come out of their peak. Does that affect the Raiders? Yeah. I mean, I don't know how quickly the Raiders can start beating them. But if you're a fan of the Denver Broncos or the Chargers, you got to feel pretty good going into next year. The Eagles gave everybody the perfect game plan on how to beat Kansas City going forward, from guarding Kelsey to the 4-man rush to the type of defense they played on the back end. You just got to get players like that. 702-365-9200 is the number. The calls are awful today in general. I mean, I thought this was going to be like a Raider parade down Fremont Street today. I don't know where everybody's head's at today. Maybe you were in New Orleans and I was back here sleeping in. But let's go. The Chiefs went down. Patrick in Woodland, California, if I got that right, on the Raiders mobile app. What's happening?
Hey, JT, thank you for taking my call. I truly appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Yeah, man, I'm happy as you know what, man. The Chiefs got dog walked last night in front of the whole world by the Eagles. And I got to give Jalen Hurts his credit, the Eagles staff their credit, the defense. They just mauled these guys as if they weren't even on the field. 40-0. I think what the score was until like the last, 5 minutes of the game, they scored those two touchdowns. It's all right, but Mahomes, I think those guys are, like you said, the chink in the armor is kind of going down. And I don't think they're going to be as superior as they were. The Raiders, we beat them not last year, but 2 years ago, we beat them at their house. We almost beat them again last year at their house. I think you're right. We've come up to find that formula to stop Mahomes. Kelsey's getting up there in age. They're not gonna be like they were before. And now I'm just excited for the Raiders, for us, because now we finally have a different type of culture shift. Yep. It's been 25 years. It's a long time, a lot of losing seasons, and it gets stressful. I can now walk down the street with my Raiders hat with pride, like this is the time now. Like I feel that way on the inside.
Good.
I think now it's 0-0. The season's now officially reset. So now I'm just wondering, if I ask you a question, if you right now were Chip Kelly or Spytek or Pete Carroll, what would you be doing right now, thinking about after what we just saw last night with the Super Bowl? What would you do for our team as the Raiders going into the draft? And then what would you be thinking about what we need, free agents, things of that nature?
Yeah, thanks for the call. Appreciate it. I would be focused solely on the quarterback. And then secondly, retaining the players who are free agents you want to keep. And then getting ready for the rest of the draft. But the priority for the Raiders is to get a quarterback who's better than Aiden O'Connell, or a lot better than Aiden O'Connell, who's a good player. That's the goal. We've all talked about that. That's not going to change. But under Pete Carroll, you might not need an elite, super elite quarterback to win. You just have to have the right quarterback who's a great teammate in a system that has a solid running game and built with the defense first. Does everybody realize Philadelphia's a very balanced team? Super balanced. You got A.J. Brown, you got Saquon Barkley, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, and that offensive line, they're good. But the strength of the Eagles is their defense. And to have that defense, and for that defense to be so strong, it'd be nice if the Raiders had a defense like that. I mean, who do the Raiders have other than Max Crosby that you're saying, oh, my God, we look like the Eagles? Well, it's supposed to be Christian Wilkins. And Christian Wilkins is a really good player, but nobody's talking about him the way they were talking about him 2 years ago. He's coming off an injury, so he's going to have to prove it to everybody that he's back and can be an elite player. I'm hoping Patrick Spillane is back, because the Raiders know that he fits the system well. If you brought back Patrick Graham and you brought back Rob Leonard, you would think that, you're going to see Robert Spillane in the silver and black. But other than that, there's a lot of other players that need to be brought into this program. And if they're connected to Pete Carroll and the Seahawks, great. If they're connected to Tom Brady and the Patriots, fine. But the Raiders got to go get some quarterbacks who can compete to be an elite player on this team. And Jalen Hurts was a second-round pick. Could Jackson Dart be the next Jalen Hurts? I don't know. I think Jalen Hurts was better than Jackson Dart in college. I heard a lot of fans ask me, many people are asking me about Jackson Dart. And I say the same thing. Go up into the first round and trade for him at the back end. But what happens if a team takes him at 16 or 17 because they know the Raiders want him so bad in the second round? I can't answer that. I don't know what they're going to do. We are going to try to figure out John Spytek by meeting him more and talking to him and getting an idea. But the job of Tom Brady, Pete Carroll, John Spytek is to make sure they don't tip their cards to anybody. And the caller said that Philadelphia was up 40-0. No, they were up 37-6. Then they went up 40-6. And then it ended up 40-22. My wife asked me when DeAndre Hopkins scored and Xavier Worthy scored, she goes, is that going to affect what people say about the score? And I said, no, but it wasn't that close. That game should have ended 40-6. When it got to 40-6, Philadelphia just checked out. They were done. And Kansas City got 2 touchdowns in garbage time. Stevie G in Oaktown. Thanks for waiting. Go ahead.
It's a good day.
Yeah.
It's a good day. You know, this is one of those games where I just think the football god stepped in. Saquon Barkley, who was basically thrown out by the Giants, the running game for the NFL, was reestablished as what it means to play physical football and to play it for 60 minutes. So even though he didn't actually have that 100-yard game or, score a long-distance touchdown or a long run, he occupied the minds of the defensive coordinator all throughout that defense, and they had to play him with 8 in the box or whatever they did to try to make sure they kept him in check. In the meantime, Jalen Hurts and the rest of that supporting cast went to work. And work they did. I think it was 34-0 before they scored, but maybe not. But the bottom line, again, is that they were there. The Eagles took it to them. And you know what? I'm sorry. What I saw defensively was maybe they took a little bit from the Raiders' Christmas win, where the defensive line of the Raiders just got after that offense for 60 minutes. And that's what it looked like to me is what the Eagles did. And they put the pressure on, and it just never stopped. So it's really good to see. I'm excited that the year, yes, is officially over. I think the brain trust with I'm really interested in Spytek, partly because of coming out of that Tampa organization. I'm a big Bruce Arians fan offensively as well. And I'm just curious as to how they'll piece together the philosophy. Chip Kelly, brilliant mind. We'll see what he does. But I'm saying the Bruce Arians piece, I'm just wondering what type of quarterback that they'll end up going for. Because I love Bruce's phrase, no risk it, no biscuit. No risk it, no biscuit. So that means the downfield throws. That means the exciting plays, not the check down. That means when it's 3rd and 4, we're throwing a 7-yard pass. So that's it, man. Hey,
thanks, man.
Good day again, Raiders. Let's go.
Appreciate it, Stevie D. I don't know exactly how Chip Kelly is going to mesh with the new quarterback because there's no new quarterback yet. I saw what Chip Kelly could do at Ohio State and Oregon, in Philadelphia, wherever he's been. How about Nick Sirianni? You think that guy's getting good credit now for being a coach? Nick Sirianni's a hell of a coach. 4 years in a row in the playoffs, 2 Super Bowl games, 1 Super Bowl win. Pete Carroll went to 2 Super Bowls, won 1, lost 1. Nick Sirianni did that in 4 years. I think Pete Carroll's a great coach. But now you got to put some respect on Nick Sirianni's name. 702-365-9200. On X at JT the Brick and on Instagram at JT the Brick LV for Vegas. Here's Raider Tom. He's in Wisconsin. Thank you, Tom.
Hey, JT, good stuff. Hey, I was just shocked at the way that game started out, and obviously by the end, loved every minute of it. I'm hoping we get a Super Bowl hangover from the Chiefs now too. We figured, teams figured out how to beat them, and now they're going to have a little bit of a hangover, and that might be a good thing for the Raiders coming up.
Yeah, that's an interesting. Hold on a second. That's an interesting point because if when you lose a Super Bowl compared to winning one, losing motivates players to want to get back. So Philadelphia could have a Super Bowl hangover because they just won. I think Andy Reid's going to be really motivated to get back there because they got blown out at one point down 36-0. That's going to fuel that organization to try to get back.
Yeah, let's just hope that they go the opposite direction, like some teams in the past. Like San Francisco had injuries, but they had a little bit of a hangover too, I think. And on EA, awesome for the Hall at the torch for the donkey game this year. And I was joking with EA when he was signing my hat to put HOF behind it. He just laughed. But now I got to get back out there next year and get the autograph with the HOF on him.
Yeah, that's what's going to be fun for Eric. Once he signs his name, the rest of his life, it's going to have the HOF. And he's going to get paid for that too, which he deserves it. You wait 19 years to get in the Hall of Fame. As the great philosopher Randy Moss once said, straight cash homie. Eric Allen now signing his name is going to make a lot of money, and he deserves it because he's not about that. But that's what happens when you go to signings and do all that. And there's a lot of people that really care about Eric, including the Raider organization. So we're going to have more information coming up to Canton. I gave a lot of people advice about what they should do. If you want to see Eric Allen get inducted in Canton, the tickets are a problem. It's at Fawcett Football Stadium. You can get tickets, no problem. Tickets are the last thing you want, but don't worry about it. But hotel rooms are hard to come by because it's Canton. It's not Vegas. So what I would do if I was you is I would start dialing Canton and call the hotels and say, I'd like to book a reservation for 2 or 4. Get your room. And then you can get your airfare a month or 2 out, and then you can get your tickets a month or 2 out. But you're not going to get a hotel room, and I don't want you to stay in Akron. Because I had buddies stay in Akron, man. That was, Akron's, that's home of LeBron James. Staying in that hotel was like a zombie apocalypse, man. There were like hallways that were empty, and I'm like, whoa. Buddy of mine stayed there. We picked him up. I was like, what is this? You don't want to stay in Akron. You might stay in Cleveland, but you want to stay in Canton. You want to stay in Canton. And it'll be great because there'll be a ton of people there. Raiders 66 in Vegas coming off the Chiefs' loss.
Hey, guys. How you doing today, JT?
Real good. Thank you.
I feel as good as you can without the Raiders winning the Super Bowl. I mean, this was just a fantastic comeuppance for a group of players that thought they were kind of entitled and, the three-peat and all this stuff. And I've had a lot of people say, hey, I'm a Raider fan and this, that, and, but I hate the Eagles fans because they're so obnoxious. I think I might be rooting for the Chiefs. And I'm like, no. I say, you cannot. It is better to go a year dealing with obnoxious Eagle fans than to deal with obnoxious Chiefs fans forever. Because if they had made history, they would be obnoxious forever. I mean, you're going to go to heaven or hell, and there's going to be Chiefs fans in both places. They're still going to be reminding you that they, made history. So, yeah, this is the best case scenario. But, it is great. Spy Tech now has, marching orders saying we need to get that defense set. We got to get these free agents back. And I agree with you, JT. If they're going to bring back Patrick Graham, his surrogate on the field is Spillane. You need that continuity. You need that guy back. And it's just, we need that. The Raider fan, and I agree with one of the previous callers. I think the Raider Chiefs game is because the Raiders aren't afraid of them. When AP, he said, and this is another thing, I don't like really the hypocrisy that I was hearing from one of the national media guys today, Mr. Greenberg. When AP said we have to treat Mahomes with rules like Michael Jordan, and everybody thought that, oh my God, he needs to be thrown out of the league or fined. This is the face of the league. No, that's the way you have to beat the guy. You have to just pound him to submission. That's what the Raiders did. So they know how to do it, but they've been fighting the Chiefs with one hand tied behind their back. The offense hasn't been up to snuff. We need the quarterback. We need Chip Kelly to get things running.
Yeah.
And that will put us on the same level. Thanks for the time.
Thank
JT.
you.
Go Raiders.
Yeah, appreciate you coming back. Thank you. It's interesting. It's tough to value everyone understands the Raiders' relationship over the last 20 years with the Chiefs. It hasn't been good. Kansas City has been dominant over the Raiders. We just want it to end. We want the Raiders to have a run of 10 years. 10 years where they're ahead of the Chiefs and start to balance this out a bit. And the formula, as 66 said so eloquently, is what the Raiders proposed to the whole league. Get after the quarterback with Max Crosby. Malcolm Kuntz had his best as a Raider in Kansas City on Christmas Day. That was the beginning of the formula, and no one else could match it. I think a lot of that had to do with no one knew how to guard Kelsey. And we saw Philadelphia guard him really well in the Super Bowl. I'll get to all this sound coming up. We got time to get you in here. Like to hear from Raider fans hardcore the next 2 days. This is kind of giving Bobby and I a break for 2 days to try to figure out what we're going to do next. Believe me, I've done this for 30 years. We get through every offseason, but it's more and more of a grind because there are days where we're going to have to switch it up. Today, we don't have to switch it up. We're just recapping the Super Bowl. Everything you saw in the game from the commercials. And when we come back, my opinion on Kendrick Lamar and what message did he send to the global television audience? Were you good with it or not? I don't know unless you tell me. Kendrick Lamar, thumbs up or down on halftime. Resorts World had a banner Super Bowl over 9 venues. Their Super Bowl party, from what I heard, off the charts. They're a proud partner of the show. If you're looking to go out and have many, many choices, one of the best properties in town is Resorts World. Thanks, everyone. I'm going to bail. I'll be back tomorrow. We'll do the voice, la, 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 get it going, and we'll figure it out. I'll be on Mad Dog tonight, 7 to 10 Pacific, 10 to 1 Eastern, for those who have Sirius Satellite Radio, Channel 82. Thank you so much.
I think he's going to do great things. Now they've got to find a quarterback. That's the next step.